supporting Nigerian businesses to grow and become more competitive on a global scale. President Bola Tinubu has officially commissioned the newly constructed Collector Road CN2 from Arterial Road N11 in Mabushi District to Judges' Quarters at Kantape District. President Tinubu, who was represented by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, says the commissioning marks a significant milestone in government's efforts to revamp the Federal Capital Territory road infrastructure and promotes Abuja as a premier destination of choice. Political correspondent Godwin Sunday takes it from here.
It was a moment of jubilation and celebration at the heart of Mabuchi and Katampe district of Abuja as President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, commissioned the newly constructed CN2 and CN3 Mabushi to Katampe roads. The extensive construction, which began shortly after the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike assumed office, making it the fourth commission project in the 17 days infrastructural development project in Abuja. Witness saw in attendance top government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, and stakeholders in the hospitality and tourism sector. While commissioning the center, the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, commended the minister and urged the FCT residents to see the road as theirs and protect it.
This is your road. Residents of Mabushi, residents of Katampe, surrounding areas. This is your road. Protect it while you use it. Preserve it while you use it.
The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike emphasized on the importance of tax payments in order to move the Federal Capital Territory forward.
Increase. So, if you only depend on 1% of what the federal government gets every month, it means that we can be in this line, not to talk about carrying out infrastructure. And that's why we're very aggressive to say, you cannot be enjoying this free of charge. You have to pay.
The reconstructed road is expected to boost economic infrastructure, create jobs, and serve as a revenue-generating asset for the FCT administration. With this commissioning, Abuja reclaims its place as a top destination for development in Africa. Godwin Sunday, reporting for Global Television News.
Thank you, Godwin. The Nigerian Senate has defended the significant increase in the 2025 Rivers State budget, describing the adjustments as necessary, people-oriented, and aligned with sustaining peace and development under the ongoing emergency administration.
Rivers State Sole Administrator Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas presented a revised budget of 1.846 trillion naira to the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Oversight, an increase of 360 billion naira from the initial estimate of 1.486 trillion naira submitted by President Bola Tinubu.
The total expenditure plan for 2025, like I stated earlier, is 1.80 trillion naira as submitted to Mr. President. However, after receipt of the additional information on the first quarter expenditure, the reviewed projected expenditure for 2025 is 1.846 trillion naira.
Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele emphasized that about 85% of the budget had been drafted by the previous administration before the emergency rule, with revisions reflecting new priorities in the infrastructure and public welfare.
At least 85% of the budget estimates presented to us today were the budget estimates already drawn up by the Fubara-led administration before the emergency rule. They had increased it by some 15% or so, based on projects, additional projects that needed to be executed. In the course of our
He attributed the increase mainly to urgent capital projects and key welfare obligations, including a notable 50 billion naira allocation for outstanding pensions and gratuities to restore dignity to retired public servants and ensure social stability. Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
Let's move things away beyond our shores now. U.S. Appeals Court has ruled that President Donald Trump could continue control of National Guard troops in Los Angeles, California, over the objections of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Trump ordered the deployment of thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines into Los Angeles this month in response to protests over federal immigration sweeps, a move opposed by city leaders and Newsom. A lower court judge had last week ordered Trump to return control of the California National Guard to Newsom, saying the president's decision to deploy them to protest hit Los Angeles was, quote, illegal. Hurricane Eric has killed at least 2 people as it swept through southern Mexico, causing significant damage to coastal communities before weakening to a low-pressure system. The state government now says a man was electrocuted while helping with debris removal in the southern Oaxaca state, where Eric made landfall after landing and handling high-voltage cables near a stream. Civil protection authorities reported that a child died in the neighboring Guerrero state after being swept away by a swollen stream as his mother tried to carry him across in the town of San Marcos. Russian President Vladimir Putin says the NATO's push to ramp up defense spending is not a threat to Russia, days before the alliance is set to sign off on a plan to boost its military capacity across Europe. In its night press conference, the Russian leader also said his troops would not stop pushing forward in Ukraine and sought to undermine his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky. The Western Military Alliance will hold a crucial summit in The Hague next week to discuss increasing defense spending to 5% of GDP under pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump. The White House says Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a couple of weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump is debating whether to take military action against the Islamic Republic. We'll keep you posted along those lines in a subsequent bulletin. In the meantime, let's turn to sports for some excitement. The Lagos State government has distributed various sports equipment to 1,664 public schools in the state as a way of shaping the sporting abilities of the students. The donation was facilitated by the Lagos State Sports Trust Fund with a total of 1,020 primary schools and 644 secondary schools from the 6 education districts and the 20 local government education authorities of the state receiving the equipment. Some of the equipment is table tennis boards, running vests and pants, spike shoes, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, chess sets with clocks, Scrabble boards with dictionaries, drought boards, tennis rackets, and first aid boxes with medical kits. Tottenham Hotspur have been given a fine of £75,000 by the Football Association for crowd control breaches during their Premier League fixture against Manchester United on Sunday, September 29, 2024. The charge, detailed in a statement on the FA website, relates to 2 separate incidents around the 49th and 79th minutes in which Spurs were found to have failed to ensure its spectators and all supporters conduct themselves in an orderly fashion and do not use words or otherwise behave in an improper, offensive, abusive, indecent, or insulting way with either an express or implied reference to sexual orientation. And now let's end Global TV News Express with a look at some of the big stories. Following weekend's attack on Yelwata community of Goma Local Government Council of Benue State, the community is now an epicenter of attraction for Nigerians. In business, the United Kingdom has said Nigeria will continue to enjoy duty-free access on 99% of total goods exported into the UK market under the developing countries trading scheme. On the foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin says NATO's push to ramp up defense spending is not a threat to Russia days before the alliance is set to sign off on a plan to boost its military capacity across Europe. And finally, in sports, we told you the Lagos State government has distributed various sports equipment to 1,664 public schools in the state as a way of shaping the sporting abilities of the students. And that's your News Express. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. We encourage you to follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. Remember to download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices. That way you can keep track of our 247 broadcast. I am Uyi Agmofwebe saying we appreciate you as always for your time. Bye-bye.